What's up, YouTube, and welcome to a brand new episode of Campus Convo. I'm MuscleManMalcolm. Nice to meet you. Yesterday wasn't just the biggest professional wrestling show in North America since WCW in 1993 or 1994, a long time ago. It was probably the best wrestling show of this year so far, and it featured a match on the card where we saw the crowning of the 94th NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, the American Nightmare, Cody. Yesterday, All In, the American Nightmare Cody did take on the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, Aldis, in a match that told not just a great story, not just had a very decent in-ring competition, but was surrounded by 10,451 screaming wrestling marks that went absolutely insane, not just for Cody's dog, but for Cody winning that NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. And I'm here to tell you guys why Nick Aldis versus Cody wasn't just the best match of this year so far, but the best match in the last decade.
Hey, cook it up, whip it up faster. Diamonds cold, sweater shit from Alaska. Hey.
Now I know what you guys are probably thinking. He didn't just say decade, did he? Is he smoking? No, I'm not. I am excited. Malcolm, the last decade of wrestling, like, are you playing, man? Like, do you know what kind of matches that happened in the last decade? You're talking about Styles and Nakamura from Wrestle Kingdom. You're talking about all the NXT takeovers, all the WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. You're saying that Aldis versus Cody was better than Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker? You know what? I am. Obviously, me saying this is, a lot of people aren't going to agree with the fact that it was like the best match in the last decade. A lot of people won't agree with that. But it's okay. It's okay. This is all just a conversation. This is just my opinion. I'm not saying this is facts. Remember, this is just a big conversation. I'm going to explain my piece. I'm going to tell you why I think it was the best match in the last decade. In the comments down below, do you at least think it was like the best match of the year? Or like, do you agree with what I'm saying? Or maybe you disagree? It's okay. This is all just a conversation. It's not an argument. If for some reason you guys did not watch All In yesterday, for one, I recommend you just stop watching this video, because I'm going to tell you guys about this match. I'm gonna tell you stuff that happened in the match, so if you don't want to know, don't watch this. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Why do I think that this match, this little picture behind me, was the best match in the past decade? Let me explain. I don't like to use this reference because I know a lot of people are like, this is stupid. About a year ago, maybe, or maybe it was 2 years ago, Shane McMahon announced that the new era of wrestling, or WWE at least, was called the reality era. And as dumb as that sounds, it's actually kind of true. What is this wrestling that you see in WWE, you see it outside of WWE, all have in common? There's less of, like strange gimmicks, and the storylines that you guys really do care about usually come from the stuff that's actually based off of something in reality that can happen, and then you blend it with a little sports entertainment, and bada boom, you're entertained like crazy. If you want a better reference, look at the stuff that's happening in WWE right now. You have Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. These guys are best friends. Then one turned, it's like, oh my god, we hate each other, now we're gonna beat the crap out of each other, and everybody's gonna love it. And even on the main roster, you have Samoa Joe and AJ Styles going at it because one disrespected someone's family, and in real life, if you do that, you better get the hands. It turns into some really good stuff sometimes, and that is the perfect combination to what made this match so good and far better than you probably even thought it was. I think I can say it's a lot of wrestling fans like myself and other people. Not all of us watch Ring of Honor consistently every single week. We catch clips, we catch a couple matches here and there, we understand the storylines, but we don't watch it every week. The thing I loved about this match so much is that not much in-ring action really needs to happen to be the success that it was. The narrative of all these storylines literally came from the NWA YouTube channel and Cody Rhodes' YouTube channel. It was just literally a bunch of series of documentaries talking about Nick Aldis, how he's the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, and a bunch of mini documentaries about Cody Rhodes and his upbringing and whatnot, him leaving the WWE, becoming a success in Ring of Honor, and now building this event with him and the Young Bucks, of course. Now, you guys probably know I'm a really big supporter of the NWA and what they're doing right now. I think it's so amazing that they're building like this entire championship back to a level where it is right now, all off of one person and a YouTube series. It's incredible. A lot of us know about the NWA mainly because we know the downfall of it. We know it was in TNA, and it didn't really hold the same prestige it once held before when Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes were champion. And we also know the title for when it was really popular, really famous with Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes and Dory Funk and all these other legends that held the NWA championship. But ever since the late 90s and early 2000s, that title has pretty much lost all types of meaning whatsoever. It pretty much became a piece of leather with some tin wrapped around it. But that was until recently when Billy Corgan actually purchased the NWA and he started up this YouTube channel channel with his YouTube series. He had the champion Tim Storm at the time. He told his story about how he became champion, where he's been, his mountaintop and whatnot, and then he surprisingly lost the title to Nick Aldis. No one thought Nick Aldis was going to be the champion, because the last time we heard about Nick Aldis, it was a few years back when he was the world champion in TNA. Then he kind of just fell off the face of the earth. We didn't know anything about him. We didn't even know where he was. I know I'm explaining a lot, but it does have a lot of meaning. But with the same 10 pounds of gold series and Nick Aldis traveling around the world as the NWA Worlds, that's what a world title does. They travel. The world's champion. The man's wrestled in Australia, the US, of course, England, or the UK, China, I think Mexico, I'm not sure, but he's been traveling around the world, been the title so many different times in so many different wrestling promotions that him by himself and his demeanor of being champion and how he carries himself as a champion actually really did bring back the prestige of that title. And now since Cody has the championship, it's not just gonna be, you know, the prestigious title, but now it's a prestigious and popular title.
I came, I saw, I praised the Lord, then break the law.
Personally, I think Nick Aldis was the perfect person to put that championship on in the first place, in the terms of the reign that he had, because when Tim Storm was champion, it was still when the belt was kind of like irrelevant. It wasn't really that much talked about, and it was built up a little bit through YouTube, and then once Nick Aldis actually took the title, you got to tell the entire story of him as champion, all on that YouTube channel, and you got to see his whole mystique and his whole demeanor change along as he became champion during his entire Aldis crusade. The reason why I feel like Aldis was the perfect guy to be the champion at the time, especially for this match, is simply down to the way the man actually carries himself. He actually looks like a former throwback of an NWA champion, of all the great NWA World Heavyweight champions, including himself, because he did so good with this. I feel like he should be held in a higher regard than he honestly is right now. This also comes from someone that actually got a chance to talk to him. Just a week, that's all I need.
Well, just, you know, just FYI, I was a full-time wrestler by the time I was 18, but no big deal.
Okay, well, FYI, I'm a full-time YouTuber, and that really means nothing. But the dude carries himself like he is 100% the most important person in the room. He doesn't scream, he's not loud, he's not outlandish. He's just extremely calm and very, very confident. For a match like this, you really do need someone that isn't too loud, too outlandish, because like as much as he should be held in regard because he is, you know, the champion, the narrative of the whole match really wasn't supposed to be about him. It was supposed to be about who he is, not necessarily about him, if that makes sense. The narrative of that match was Cody trying to get the championship, not necessarily Cody facing Nick Aldis.
Sick of them sweatsuits and them corny hats, let's talk about it. I'm sick of you being rich and you still mad, let's talk about it. The
whole purpose of this entire match was to make Cody almost like an underdog, which he was throughout the match and going into the match as well. That's why he had Nick Aldis continuously call himself the national treasure and the dealer and things that really put him in this really high regard, because he is, one, the champion, which he should be put in high regard, but also to make sure that he has like so much of a higher edge over Cody that he really does feel like an underdog going into an event that he just self-financed and sold out by himself with the Young Bucks, obviously, because it was a trio thing. In all honesty, if you strip away the whole emotional barrier behind it, Nick Aldis was pretty much the underdog going into this entire thing. But what made this match, again, as I was saying before, that whole reality meets wrestling, it was a story of redemption, it was a story of loss, and it was a story of triumph. A little over 3 years ago today, Dusty Rhodes did pass away. Almost everyone on this entire planet has experienced some type of major loss in their life. It was a parent, a grandparent, some type of relative, a cousin, an uncle, a best friend, someone, a coach. We've all had someone that's been really close in our lives that did pass away, you know, unfortunately. It's definitely easy to sympathize with Cody Rhodes because like he went through this loss of losing his father and then betting on himself, leaving the WWE, becoming a success on the independents. But again, almost everyone has experienced that moment of like, you know, a major loss. Like for me, my mom passed away in 2016, so like there's always like that connection, like, oh, he lost a parent. I always feel like I felt like what he was going through, because like, you know, when you lose a parent, it's a very, you know, strange set of emotions. It's crazy. Wouldn't wish it upon anyone, but like it's almost like you live through him. It's like I understand what he's going through. I don't even think Cody really understands how much of an inspiration he is for a lot of people, because like there's a lot of people that have gone through the same stuff he's gone through. Maybe not on such a public stage, but there's a lot of people that's probably gone through that as well. If this was in front of like a 5,000 seat Ring of Honor crowd, it probably wouldn't have been as good, but you had some of the most passionate fans in the entire world in a hardcore wrestling city of Chicago on probably the most historic night in professional wrestling in the past, I guess I could say, decade to that as well, because when's the last time something like this ever happened? Never.
We can't have no conversation. We do not speak the same language. Smoking that rockabye, baby. I'm in the.
I really did like the whole setup of All In because they had like the spotlight pretty much on the ring, and it almost felt like you're watching like a really major boxing event in a way. I felt like I wasn't even watching wrestling. It felt like I was just about to watch some serious MMA boxing stuff. Like this felt legit. For the actual match, I mean, of course they had the walkout teams, which was incredible. Every person that came out with Cody had a really strong connection with him. Every person that came out, Aldis had a connection with them. The crowd was absolutely perfect because they were cheering so hard. It was like a homecoming welcome for Cody Rhodes, and they booed Nick Aldis so hard. There was no cheers for him at all. Not a single person in that building was cheering for that man. Even when Cody Rhodes actually had the advantage on him, no matter what, Nick Aldis always felt like he was in control. I used the word calm a lot when describing him, but it's almost like he wrestles like at peace in a way. It's almost like a combination of like Jake the Snake Roberts and British Bulldog. That's pretty much Nick Aldis in a sense of his character, how he carries himself, and how he wrestles in between the ropes. Another thing that made this match so perfect was also the camera shots, so shout out to all the all-in camera guys. You guys did incredible. Because during the opening parts of the match, they continuously showed the stage that said NWA World Heavyweight Championship, continuously showed like these really wide shots of the crowd just to show how big the arena was, how important this was.
Get up in it now, bitch, I'm here to win it now. LOGIC, I'm feeling free, I'm finna bring it now. If you know the words, take it.
A big point in the match that we thought, you know, oh my god, this match actually could be over is when Cody jumped off the top rope and Aldis kind of caught him with the forearm, and then Earl Hebner threw up the X, which it was kind of obvious that it really wasn't hurt because Brandy did not really seem that interested. And they had DDP come down there and check on Cody because he was almost like Cody's mentor. And then Sean Daivari came out, and then like he got hit with the diamond cutter, and that was just a really good pop. We saw Cody with his blonde hair got all red up because of the blood, and Aldis brought him back into the ring. He put him in the Kingsman Cloverleaf. In a shot of after Cody actually, you know, grabbed the rope, and he was like sitting there talking to Brandy. He was laid there knocked out, and Brandy was trying to consult him. The shot of Nick Aldis kind of dragging Cody away, and Brandy kind of like, oh my god, no, and Cody screaming, trying to grab onto her. Like that was like, oh my god, it's like a movie. Right into Aldis dropping with a pile driver. Aldis again, who had taken a lot of damage during this match, but you know was still trying to like play like the juggernaut, like he really didn't feel it. Really trying to give the message on how big of an underdog Cody Rhodes was in this match. He got out of the ring, kind of stood there for a minute. He was talking to Brandy. He's like, just let him give up. That pure moment, honestly, really defined the entire match. Really was the turning point of the entire thing. When Aldis dropped the elbow from the top, and Brandy pretty much threw her body on top of Cody and actually took the elbow herself. That moment right after Aldis hit, and he kind of just landed. He looked like, oh my god, what just happened? It was at that moment we could see Aldis' face of the sheer like shock. It's like, oh my god moment. And the commentators had such a perfect line, like right at that very moment, of saying something on the lines of, what's your wife thinking sitting at home right now, Mr. Aldis? Because at that moment he went from like this overlord, juggernaut, I'm the champ, I'm running this entire match guy, to that same extremely humble guy that was like, you know, I gotta bring this title home for my son so he can play with it. He has a wife at home too. This is not just about Cody and his family, it's about my family also. You can see like this guy that was like this juggernaut turned into almost like a human. Like he just got humanized, really, that's not even a word, but he got humanized like really quick. You can see almost a softer side of him, and that was pretty much his downfall of this entire match, leading to the eventual pin by Cody Rhodes, and the sheer emotion on his face when he actually won that championship. It brought a strong thug tear from this eye right here. Just a strong thug tear. You know, I sucked it back up. I was like, can't cry because I'm too thug. I mean, shoot, if you guys watched, I bet you guys are emotional too. It was good. It was really good. So when I say this match was the best in the last decade, not because of the wrestling, but a combination of what they did between the ropes, the story told between the ropes, and the story told before and the celebration after. Because you can take every moment in wrestling the past 10 years, there is not a more emotional moment than seeing Cody Rhodes win the title that his dad won, and that Cody wanted to win to bring back to his family's name. But that's why I feel Nick Aldis versus Cody Rhodes was the best match in professional wrestling in the past 10 years. I know a lot of you guys aren't going to agree with me, but the way I look at it, it was a good in-ring match, but the story behind it far exceeded any type of cool wrestling spots they could have thought of. But yeah, guys, that's my opinion on Nick Aldis versus Cody Rhodes. Did you guys watch All In? Did you enjoy it? Tell me in the comments down below, and make sure to like, comment, share, always subscribe, and we outie.